Doug Zanger, Executive Director, Think Northwest. Hope you had a lovely, lovely holiday. I hope you had a break. I hope you had a chance to enjoy the Pacific Northwest. I hope you had some time to refill the tank, as it were, because when we refill the tank, we get to do mighty things, creative things, fun things, which is what we call a perfect segue into our logo remix, which is one of our favorite things that Mark Moran, vice president of Think Northwest, started when we kicked off Think Northwest. And it's been really fun to see interpretations of the logo. And you can see all of 2023. We have a little recap, ThinkNW.org. Before we get started, that music you heard, so let me play it again. We love to support anything Pacific Northwest, and especially in our industry, we want to support it. So you may be familiar with Marmoset Music. Ryan Wines is the big cheese there. And they've done amazing things over the years. And it's a fascinating business. They're super sharp, super smart. So if you're an agency, if you're a brand, if you're needing the music-y stuff, and I'm using that term clearly very lightly, Marmoset is your Pacific Northwest place to be. Now, they have, I'm going to share the screen here because I want to share Track Club. I love this. So Track Club, you may be familiar with the interface. You may be familiar with these types of platforms. And so again, Marmoset, proudly Pacific Northwest, based in Portland. And I started at the playlist thing. So, you can go through and there you go. So we decided to get a business plan. We want to support Marmoset. So here we go at Track Club. But I want to go to these playlists because even if you're working on a creative idea, if you are working on concepts, and when I was in radio, one of the things that I used to do is I used to preview the music library we had. Back in the day, it was CDs. And so I'd go through and I'd say, okay, it's this track, it's this CD, this track, this title, this is what I think it can work for. And weirdly enough, doing that led to me, fortunately, and I'm not trying to like pat myself on the back, and it was many years ago, so who cares anyway. I won a Radio Mercury Award in 2003. And part of that was because I had been previewing the music, it had sparked something in me, and it helped me get to the and same thing with other clients and other brands when I was in radio and advertisers. And so it's really helpful. So my point here is, let's say that it was 4 months ago and you're like, you know what, we actually really need to be thinking about, the holiday season. So, you can go through and preview. What, like that? Ooh. See? I'm going to bring Nicole from Think Northwest on this one. I mean, I just kind of went with that one random. But kind of funky, right? You're allowed to unmute, by the way. You don't have to nod.
I was just letting it have its moment and play.
I mean, really good song. It's a really good cut. And again, it's Marmoset Music, Ryan Wines and his team. Congratulations on a lot of great success over the years, and especially lately. Really fun group. And we encourage you, again, please visit trackclub.com. By the way, this is not a hashtag ad. We just wanted to support them. And we supported them with a membership, and we hope you do as well. Nicole, let's edit your title, because when it just says executive manager, let's just clearly do that. And let's bring in our artist. Olivia, are you up in Seattle?
I'm south of Seattle. I'm in Federal Way, Auburn.
Yes, you're Federal Way. Okay, so yeah. Seattle-ish. So everybody's very excited about you, Dub.
Oh yeah. I mean, not my family. We're Cougars.
Oh, Wazoo, baby. Pack two.
We're like kind of excited.
Right. Well, we're down in Oregon. So it's so funny. I've talked to all, even, even dyed in the wool, I don't like Michigan fans are like, no, I still can't root for Washington. I said, why? This makes absolutely no sense. This makes absolutely no sense. So we'll talk more about your work here in a second, because I'm an idiot and couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong here. So I'm going to let you and Nicole have a conversation about the logo. And then I definitely we'll I'll pop this back on and you can talk a little bit more about your work. I mean, I'll give you the headline. It's gorgeous, awesome, impactful, just powerful stuff. But let's talk a little. I'm going to go away because I want Nicole to have the wheel here, and let's go ahead and have a conversation about this logo.
Yeah, let's do it. We were just saying backstage that it was so cool seeing your aesthetic with your graphic novels on our logo. So I wanted to ask kind of the inspiration and how you approached the logo remix.
Yeah, so I don't usually get to do a lot of logo work, so it was kind of exciting for me to dip out of cartooning for a second to kind of try my hand at this. So I guess my main inspiration was just thinking about how I personally conceptualize the Pacific Northwest, and how I because I've flown to a lot of different places in the United States, and I kind of asked myself the question of like, okay, how do I know when I'm back home? Because I feel like I gravitate towards the textures of the natural landscape around here. That's what makes me feel like home is just this incredibly unique, mossy, enigmatic place with a lot of really dramatic natural sights. And so that's how I personally connect to the Pacific Northwest. And, when I was drawing my first graphic novel, that's based in Oregon. But just it came out then while I was working on that and drawing the natural landscape of Oregon and surrounding areas, where I was like, this has informed the way that I like view nature and the way that I put pen to paper in a lot of ways. So totally. Yeah, I just love the way this part of the country looks. I've lived in the East Coast for a bit. I lived in Oklahoma for a bit. I've gone all over, and like, there's just something, I'm biased, I was born and raised here, but there's just something about this region in particular that really inspires me creatively. So I just wanted to try my hand at something I don't usually get to do. Also did this completely digitally, which is also pretty new to my process. I tend to mix traditional and digital art processes together a lot of the time, but for this I wanted to go out full digital and see what came up of it.
What platform do you use for digital art?
Oh yeah, so I use a mixture of things, but mostly I use for sketching and stuff, I use a program called Clip Studio Paint, which is actually more geared towards comics. But you can do whatever you want in there. So yeah, I sketched this out digitally in Clip Studio Paint, and then for the final version, I moved it to Adobe Photoshop because that's the program I'm most comfortable with for everything. So yeah, those two mainly.
That's awesome. Did you have any favorite letter that you were working on, or was it just kind of flow of ideas?
I would say probably my favorite letter was the first N, just because I was trying to kind of lovingly depict the aspect of our weather and just environment that a lot of people have feelings about, especially more negative feelings. But there's something about just that gray, muggy, that gray, muggy atmosphere we have. I call it we're like the vegetable stand in like a supermarket where they just have the misters. I feel a lot of affection for that, for the overcast skies and stuff.
Yeah. Moody. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing the logo. I just think it's so cool seeing how the PNW influences your art, like we're seeing here also with our logo. So let's go ahead and just talk about some of the work that you've done. Do you want to go ahead and talk about Artie and the Wolf Moon? Is that recent?
Yeah, so Artie and the Wolf Moon is my debut graphic novel, and that came out in 2021. And it follows an 8th grader in rural Oregon who accidentally discovers that she's descended from werewolves. Werewolves are a big part of my work even now, just because they're probably my favorite supernatural being. And I've always been kind of attracted to like shape-shifting characters in fiction. So yeah, that came out in 2021. It is my first baby, and I hold a lot of affection for that title. And I've gotten some really, really kind feedback on it from parents and also from kids who read it, because it is for like a middle grade audience, so middle school. So yeah, I'm still immensely proud of it 2 years in, and I'm always blown away by just the kind comments people have left about it, and the response to it has been great.
That's awesome. I saw that you got an award. I'm not sure if it was for Artie and the Wolf Moon, but do you want to talk more about some of the awards that you've gotten for the work?
Oh yeah, so the recent award, I got an Ignatz Award, which an Ignatz Award is a comics-based award that's geared towards independent and small press. And I got that for my work on Darlin and Her Other Names. That is another werewolf comic that is totally very different from Artie and the Wolf Moon. It's an adult geared work, and it takes place in 1881. It's set across Colorado and Kansas. And a lot of historical kind of research has gone into it. And yeah, so I won the Ignatz Award for Outstanding Artist this past year in September, and that was presented at the Small Press Expo in Maryland. I wasn't able to go, but my friends were able to kind of accept it on my behalf, and that was really, really affirming and really exciting, because this is a project that I undertook at the beginning of 2022. And at the beginning of 2022, I decided to take a break from a lot of the commercial work I was doing, because I was just completely burnt out. I was completely spent. And this story had been kind of brewing for, I think, 2 or 3 years, and just on the back burner. And I never had time to do it because I was just so busy with my contracted projects. So once my last contracted stuff ended at the beginning of 2022, I had enough in my savings to just kind of put a huge pause and go out and make this work, which is just work from the heart with I had no real desire to, pitch it to a publisher or try to sell it to anyone. I wanted it to just be 100% my vision, and in alignment with what I wanted this comic to look like and be about.
Awesome.
So Yeah, it's been probably the most rewarding project I've done creatively, because I worked through the whole 2022 just independently on this passion project.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came out in March of 2023, and I had no idea what the response was going to be. And then this response ended up being pretty amazing,
Mm-hmm.
especially for an independent project that I was just self-publishing online. It doesn't have a physical edition because I didn't really want to be bothered with that. I didn't want to be limited by the limitations of print and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm immensely proud of that. And I'm still working on it because this is just the part one that came out this past year. And this upcoming year, I'll be working on part two and beyond. And yeah,
That's
it's been a
good.
very exciting journey of
Yeah.
self-realization and kind of recalibrating my creative priorities and all that.
That must be so rewarding to have such success on passion projects and something personal like that. And you segued
Yeah.
perfectly into our last question, what future projects you're looking towards 2024? What's going on?
Yeah. So I'll be going to a residency in upstate New York in 2 weeks. And so there I'll be there for like a month or something. And I'm gonna be working on part two for Darlene and Her Other Names. I'm also gonna be doing a bit of writing and research for a new short comic that I want to get done for later this year. And yeah, I try to keep myself pretty open ended when I go on an artist residency and let the different places that I go to kind of speak to me and inform what I'm going to do there.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, I'm keeping things open. I might dip back into some contract work for book publishing, that kind of thing. But for now, I'm trying to keep it as self-guided as possible because I think that's what keeps me creatively fulfilled and also just, emotionally fulfilled in a lot of ways.
Yes, totally. That's awesome. Thank you so much for working with us and sharing your art. We've absolutely loved seeing what you've come up
Yeah.
with, and good luck with everything in the future. And hopefully
Thank
we'll work
you.
together
Yeah.
soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.